And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to another edition of the Coaches Show here from Westside Grill. This week I'm joined by Jeremy Kenney. And Jeremy, we had a lot of exciting football games, blowouts, but some close ones. Probably the crown jewel rivalry of North Mississippi this week. We got a chance to see between Amory and Shannon, a big ball game there.
Well, absolutely a big ball game there, and you talk about a big win for Shannon. They go on into Amory, and they do a very good job. They play well, and Darius Young comes up big and it does what big players are supposed to do in big games.
Absolutely. We'll go over some of these scores and highlights and stuff here from the Westside Grill Coach Show. Remind you, we take this show Monday nights at 6 o'clock. Westside Grill now open full time, 7 days a week here. We've already got our food ordered place here. One thing I do want to say for all you seafood lovers out there, Charles, with a rather interesting thing here, Jamie. I know you're a big fan of seafood like me. I guess you say cook to order buffet. All the sides will be available for you to go up and get, but you know, he cooks the seafood fresh as you order it on your buffet there. So, man, not very many places do that, but you can't beat that if you tried.
Absolutely not. It's a great place. The first time I've ever eaten here, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Let's run through some scores real quick. West Point had no problem with New Albany to the final score of 35-0. Tishomingo County, same difference. No problem with Pontotoc there, 42-0. Tisch County, this is the team to look out for in 4A. They almost had 400 yards. They had 359 yards total offense this past week against the Warriors. Arian Kissinger, the quarterback there, with 3 rushing touchdowns. Lafayette County and Rosafort, 41-6 over Rosafort. Desmond Ivy, 3 touchdowns in that ball game. And then, Jeremy, the ball game you guys had, Oxford, no problem with DeSoto Central at all. 48-14. Horton, Coran, 2 touchdowns each in that ball game. Take us through that ball game this last Friday night.
Well, this is a game simply of domination from the start. Oxford, a little uncharacteristic. They come out and Coach Hill surprises us once again. Doesn't go with Davis Horton at quarterback. Brings out his star wide receiver Brent Brownlee. Oxford's first possession, they started inside DeSoto Central territory at the 21-yard line, and Brownlee comes out in a fullback wishbone offense. As the quarterback takes the snap, they run 4 plays, they cash in the end zone with Brownlee coming around the end, and once that happened, the floodgates open. Oxford balloons their lead, 48-14 your final. Oxford had no problem with DeSoto Central. They did a lot of things. They faked some PATs, went for 2 on a lot of occasions. So Coach Johnny Hill opening up the bag of tricks and forcing coaches down the road to take a look at that and remind themselves that Coach Hill, he's a little unorthodox, and you don't know what he's going to do, and that's one of the great things about him. He's so unpredictable, and that's why his offenses just seem to continue to roll up points.
Absolutely, that's what I was about to say. The only predictable thing about Coach Hill is you just don't know.
He's very unpredictable.
You basically come into the game blind there. As we mentioned, a 48-14 victory on homecoming night as well over DeSoto Central. Another ball game that we just talked about, touched on a while ago, the Shannon Red Raiders and the Red Raider Nation got a big win over Amory this past Friday night, 33-21. Darius Young, you talked about it, 4 touchdowns, 3 receiving, 1 rushing, and then Richard McFadden had 4 passing touchdowns in the game as well. I had the opportunity to talk to the coaches, Darius, Richard McFadden, and one of the linemen after the game, so we'll take you quickly to that interview. And welcome back to the post-game show. Coach Casey, huge win for your football team, confidence-wise, play-wise, and on every level. This was a big win to knock off your rival Amory.
It was. It was a huge win for us. It's always fun, you know, anytime you get a chance to beat those guys. It doesn't happen real often, and luckily we've done it several years in a row now, and it was a big win for us with division play starting next week.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, I got some friends down at the Clarion Ledger that I fought tooth and nail with this summer, saying Darius Young, if you don't pick this kid as a Danny Dozen member, you're all crazy. Tonight, this kid had an impressive ball game. Rushed for a touchdown, caught 3 more, but also catches some stiff arms and some runs afterwards, proving that he is one of the elite players in the state this year.
If there's many better than him, you know, I don't know who they are right now. We don't play him if there is. You know, he's got everything it takes. He's got the physical ability. He's got the mental attitude to play. Great hands, good work ethic. You know, he's got the whole package. I'm glad he's on our team.
Absolutely. Coach, let's talk about your quarterback play in Ledbetter. I unofficially had him pushing 300 yards passing. I don't know if those stats are correct, but a big night passing the football for him. Really sort of got rattled early, but was able to come back and fight back.
Yeah, and he's grown so much over the last year. He was fortunate enough to get to start a lot of games as a sophomore last year, and it's really helped him. He's a different player. Last year, if he got off to a start like he did, he'd have a tendency to drop his head and get discouraged. But this year, he keeps bouncing right back, and he understands he's going to make good plays and bad. just hang in there.
All right, Coach, all the accolades, of course, is going to go to those two guys. Let's talk about the defense. That's what won you the ball game tonight. The big guys up front, Atkinson, number 77 as well. Those guys got in the backfield, caused a lot of problems for a running game that really lit y'all up in the first half.
Well, when you coming in, they could run the ball well, and we knew they could throw the ball well. And we ended up the first half trying to stop both and ended up stopping neither one. You know, we just came in halftime. Our defensive coaches did a good job making adjustments. You know, we just went in, we all sat down. I said, look, we got to stop one or the other. They're running it all over. Let's put 7 in the box and make them throw the football. And, you know, if they can, they can. But, you know, we didn't slow them down the first half, so we had to do something. But, you know, they really stepped it up the second half.
All right, Coach, let's talk about this Amory team. They've lost 2 in a row now to tough competition. This is still a team in 3A that can make a lot of noise.
I mean, they play a tougher non-division schedule as any 3A team, I'm sure. I believe they have Oxford next week.
Yes.
You know, there's not any letdowns in their schedule. You know, I look for them to be right in the mix, you know, coming into the season. I think they'll be one of the top 2 or 3 in the North.
All right, Coach, next week you go on the road to Pontotoc. You're going to celebrate this win for a couple of days, but get right back to business and get the guys focused on the task at hand.
All right, man, I told them that tonight, guys. This is the last chance you're going to have to go out, turn loose, enjoy it, and not worry about playoffs or what, you know, how you finish from now on out. From next week on, every game means something as far as the division goes, and we got to be ready week in, week out.
Coach, appreciate you taking time after the game to talk to us here. Good crowd out tonight as well. Want to encourage everyone to get out and go to Pontotoc next week. And good luck as you start to hit the division play now.
Thank you.
And we're back with the post-game show. Darius Young. Darius, I told the coach, and I fought with the guys tooth and nail during the Clarion Ledger this summer, saying if you weren't a Daniel Dozen guy, they were just crazy not to select you. Tonight, you made them. Every game you made them eat your word. Talk about the play tonight and just some of the plays that broke down for you.
It was just an awesome game. They fought hard, we fought hard. I knew it was coming in the game, it was going to be a tough battle. But I mean, we all played together, and we got this win.
All right, well, let's go back. And I'm not going to ask you to do it to me because you'll probably shove me to the 50-yard line. The stiff arm on a couple of plays on that. Talk about just those plays, how they broke down for you. You was able to just basically just shove off a guy and then run, take it for a big play.
I love doing that. I tell the receivers in practice, use that stiff arm. I'm telling them they just don't know how bad that works. I just told them to just use that when we in drills and stuff. It works in practice and stuff. I keep telling them, use that. I'm telling you, you get a lot more yards that way.
Darius, you had 4 touchdowns tonight, 3 receiving, 1 rushing. Take us on that running touchdown. We're not used to seeing you run the football in the end zone, but you got hit about the 2 and just rolled over some Amory guys.
We installed that play about a week ago. We just trying to just use that play to see how it was gonna do, and we decided to run it out here. And I told some of the receivers, I said Reggie Bush, but pretty good though. It worked pretty good. I didn't think it was gonna work like that, but I saw the defenders coming out, so I had to cut back, and then I had to just drop my shoulders and get in there.
All right, let's talk about this Amory team. This is a good Amory football team you guys played tonight. They're going to make a lot of noise in 3A.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team. Like Coach Berry told me, he said I should have started playing basketball. He just wanted me to play basketball. He didn't want me to go back out there and play football. But that's going to be a pretty good team. I was checking on the quarterback, make sure he was all right. That's going to be a pretty good team, though. That was a tough game.
Well, you know, momentum-wise, confidence-wise, it was a big win for you. Darius, co-player of the night with Michael. Michael had a big ball game for you.
Yes,
Talk about some of
sir.
the passes he delivered out to you tonight.
He was on point tonight. Mike was on point tonight. Pretty good quarterback.
Well, Darius, we're going to cut away real quick, come back and talk to Mike about some of the game as well. Congratulations, co-player of the game, and looking forward to seeing you next week against Pontotoc.
All right.
And back with more of the post-game show here, talking with Michael Ledbetter. Mike, we just talked to Darius. Darius talking about you were on point tonight, delivering the ball well. My unofficial stats, we're knocking on the door 300 yards passing. Talk about your performance tonight and just how you felt delivering the football.
It all starts with the O-line. It all starts with the O-line. Then it's the receivers. Then it's the running backs. Then it's me. That's how I see it. And we're a team. So I put all of them before me. So that's how it is.
Well, talk about, you know, this is one thing I talked to the coach and Darius about. Darius is one of the elite players in the state of wide receiver. Talk about just the confidence that you have as a quarterback to be able to go to a guy like Darius Young in a tough position.
Yeah, I've been knowing Darius forever. I mean, he came from the Palmetto. So I've been knowing him forever, man. So it's just chemistry. Just know what to do when we're supposed to do it.
All right, well, you had some big runs as well in that football game. Talk about how you felt and how you're able to see some of the things that opened up for you when you're able to tuck and run.
But everybody, you know, in the stands, the coaches, all of them say I can't run. Then some of the Amory guys were saying I can't run either. So I had to show them a little victory. Yeah.
All right, well, big win for you guys tonight. You got Pontotoc next week. I know you want to get out and celebrate this one. Division play come up. You guys got to get your eye on the prize and fight hard each week.
Yeah, got to get it.
Well, we're back. I didn't shrink during the timeout here talking to Josh McOliver. You guys did a good job tonight. Had a tough front line against Amory, but you came in when your team needed to play the most. Talk about the job you guys did on the front line tonight.
We did an awesome job, man. We've been working on it since day one. Just that way it started up front. Been working on it and just been in practice, trying to get our defense. Cause that's a tough defense ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, they had a big guy, number 90, Dennis Johnson, that's been seen as being one of the top defensive linemen in the area. Talk about Dennis and some of the problems he presented you tonight.
He was just clogging up the hole. We couldn't run up the middle, none, you know. So we had to just get the sweep so he couldn't run out there. You know, he a big guy.
All right, well, this is a big win. Next week, you guys go on the road to Pontotoc, then go to Saltillo. So now back in division play, you got to get a lot more serious now in the football season.
Yeah, it's time to get serious. I told my guys when we went in, next week where it really started, these just getting ready for a state because we stay bound.
All right, well, appreciate you taking time out of the game. Didn't expect this interview, but that's what you get when you hang around too long here. So appreciate it, man. Big win tonight. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
And welcome back. A little technical difficulties there, but we're rolling now. Jeremy, I'll tell you what. Talking with Darius Young, he has the type of attitude, you know, just a fun-loving type of guy. You saw in that interview there. I still find it hard that this kid was not named a Danny Dozen player.
Absolutely. He's got everything you want. He's got great size, great speed. He's a very strong guy. He's got great leaping ability. Does a great job catching the football. I think maybe for his size, he's sort of a bulked up wide receiver. A lot of times you don't see wide receivers are as big as this guy is, but Darius certainly is one of the best receivers, probably the best receiver in the state of Mississippi. And for whatever reason, the Clarion Ledger decided he was not one of the best 12 in the state, but he's proving to be once again a top candidate for our Offensive Player of the Year.
Absolutely. It's like Coach Casey said. He said if there's one better out there, he wants to see him, and he'd much rather be playing with him than against him.
Absolutely.
Well, one last score in the 4A game here. Itawamba 21, Saltillo 8, as Wesley Wildman had one rushing touchdown in that ball game. Itawamba AHS 21, Saltillo 8 in that ball game there. Well, we'll take you to a real quick break. Come back with more right after this. And welcome back to Westside Grill here in Bruce. Remind everybody to come by Monday nights at 6. Actually, come by anytime now. Charles open 7 days a week now, so come by and check that out. Jeremy, you enjoying your salad there during the break. But one thing for sure, if you got to come by, just call in an order. They're across from Sonic here in Bruce. 983-2828 is the number there. They've got a brand new menu and everything, so you want to come by and check out some of the things here with Little Charles. We're going to jump back in some of the scoring real quick. Boonville, no problem with Mooreville. Sanders, Anderson, and Scott each had 3 touchdowns in that ball game. Jeremy, we looked at real quick. This is a ball club that everybody considered to be down after they lose Justin Williams. They dropped 51 points on Mooreville. Looks like the old ball coach still got some tricks up his sleeve.
Well, he does, and you can never count out great coaching. Talent is always an issue, but great coaching will always get the most out of subpar talent, and it's a credit to Coach Drury and company to able to get this team back up, and they're a team that can make a push for the playoffs. Absolutely.
Another team in 3A that's got a lot of attention through us, but may not be statewide, is Nettleton as they knock off Manatchee 48-0. Jamie Boland, 4 touchdown passes. Second week in a row he's had 4 touchdown passes. I tell you what, I've got Nettleton on my list of games to cover on down the week, and I'm looking forward to see this Nettleton offense. Speed all over the field, and it's just a high-scoring, high-power offense.
Well, that's exactly what you have to do, and this is a team that everybody's circling an Amory-Nettleton ball game, later on, and it's going to be a game that is going to be highly, highly touted and highly covered, and that's a game that could determine number 1 in the district play.
Absolutely, and Jeremy, you'll be on the play call for that. I believe that was in about 3-4 weeks possibly there, so you'll want to check local listings for the time of that that ball game. Other scores: Holly Springs knocks off North Panola 41-25. Don't want to say South Panola because that would be nearly impossible.
Not quite the same team.
Absolutely. As Senatobia knocked off Water Valley in 3A play there. No final score was reported from Bob and his crew there for us, so we don't have a score on that one. And then the ball game that some people thought would be close, but I think the true score came out in the end. Baldwin knocked off South Pontotoc 34-0. Baldwin nearly 300 yards rushing on the ground. Caleb Turner 3 touchdowns on the ball game. So Baldwin, after dropping the game to Nettleton early in the season, back on their winning ways in 2A football.
Well, this is a team that nobody is good. This is a team that's not going to sneak up on anybody like they did last year. They had everybody coming back. They won 12 games last year, finished 12-1 with a tremendously young football team, and it's a good measuring stick for them to be able to bounce back after Nettleton suffered a tough loss there. They're still somewhat of a young team, but they've been through the motions before. This is a team that's going to go very far in 2A, and this is one of the teams I have them picked to win 2A North along with Calhoun City and to be in that matchup come state championship time.
Absolutely. Paul Blantz had an opportunity to speak to some players and coaches after the game, so we'll take you some quick interviews here on the Coaches Show and be back with more.
And welcome back to Springville, Mississippi, the campus of South Pontotoc High School here in the victorious locker room of the Baldwin Bearcats. Here was Adrian Shelley's. Adrian, congratulations. Big night tonight from the Bearcats. Offensively, you guys put things together. A little bit better football game for you guys from the standpoint of an effort standpoint. This game last year between South Pontotoc was a close football game at Latimer Park.
Yeah, it was. And we just came to play this week.
Last week that game that was played, last year that game was played in Baldwin. That game went down to the wire. And that game went down to the wire, and of course tonight, you guys took anything out. No doubts. All the questions were answered in the first quarter. You guys took an early 7-0 lead, and then the second half pretty much just salted away what was a game that was basically won at halftime.
Yeah. Like I said, we just came to play.
Came to play. Well, next week, probably the game that you guys circle on the calendar all season long. I don't know, we kind of given it a nickname, the Battle of 45, the Backyard Brawl, whatever we can call it. Next week, you guys play against the Boonville Blue Devils, a team that obviously I know you guys would look forward to and playing against a good team and a chance to get a big win against Coach Drury and his football team.
Yeah, we should. We ain't going to mention their name until we see them Friday.
They're a good football team. Obviously, you guys play well. So congratulations. Good luck to you next week against the Blue Devils.
All right, thank you.
And here with Caleb Turner, Caleb quarterback for the Baldwin Bearcats. Caleb, congratulations, big win for your team. We talked about that last year against this same football team, a game that was much, much closer against this same South Pontotoc football program.
Yeah, they tried to spread us out and attack us with the pass. We were more ready for it this year, our defense.
Yeah, you guys defended quite well, and offensively, you guys made some plays tonight, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Our offensive line is getting better and better every week. Our specialized guys are keeping their feet and running the ball hard. I just do what I can to get them the ball.
Well, you got some weapons to get the football to with Shelley and Davenport and with all the kids, Ties, all these guys that you can get the football to. All those guys had some great efforts tonight. Tell us a little bit about, obviously next week. I know that's a game that we're going to talk a little bit about now because that's the one that you guys circle. And that battle, we call it the Battle of 45, or Battle of Backyard Brawl. It's the Boonville Blue Devils. Nothing else can be said except that's the game that both these schools would like to win, isn't it? Baldwin and Boone.
Yes, sir. We're looking forward to it, but really we're taking 1 week at a time. So we got so much better over every week, just first game to the second game to the third game. So.
Yeah, we did your first game against Nettleton, and you guys ball, but Nettleton's really a good football team. But there's no question you guys have improved from week 1 to week 4 now. You're like a totally different football team tonight. Against the team against South Pontotoc that 2 weeks ago played Kossuth here at home, and they had a lead on Kossuth at halftime.
Yeah, we watched film. South Pontotoc played good. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but I think we came to play.
Well, congratulations. Good luck next week when you guys entertain the Blue Devils from Boone.
All right, thank you.
And welcome back again here with Dominic Davenport. Dominic, congratulations tonight to big win against the South Pontotoc Cougars. One thing you guys have done, Coach Dillinger and your staff, last year you guys did as well. You're not really ducking anybody. This is the 4th week in a row. We're in week 4. Next week will be another 3A school. You guys, the last 2 years, have played schools in the first 5 weeks. There were classifications or a classification or two bigger than you guys. Big win tonight here against South Pontotoc.
Yes, sir. We just play bigger schools to get us ready for the division game. Just to get ready for the season. It's preseason, but we still try to come and play hard. Like it's every game, take one game at a time.
South Pontotoc do anything different than you guys thought, or pretty much did what you guys look like? You guys are pretty prepared for everything they done.
Yeah, they didn't throw as much like they did last year, but
they threw it every down last year, didn't they? That was we were talking about. That was probably the best game we did last year. That thing went to the wire, didn't it?
Yes, sir. Well, I guess we just came to play. I don't know.
Well, next week, you know, the one that everybody kind of circles on the calendar. If you live in Boonville or if you live in Baldwin, it doesn't matter. That's the game of the year, isn't it? You know, I mean, the two teams, they don't like each other much. There's not a lot of love between either one of the two schools. It's a healthy rivalry, a rivalry that has two good football programs. And next week, you don't have to get motivated too much to play them, do you?
No, sir. Just put on the pad and go.
And of course, they'll have some guys that will be, that you guys will have to stop. Obviously, with Scott and some of their skilled people. Anderson, they've got some good athletes in Anderson. That will be a good matchup. Davenport and Anderson going against each other. Yeah. Bubba and yourself. Yeah. I know you guys know each other well.
Yeah, I know. It'll be a pretty good matchup. I think I can take them though.
Well, we won't get that one on. But congratulations. Good luck to you next week at Latimer Park in Baldwin.
Thank
you. Coach. Here with Coach Jimmy Dillinger, the head football coach of the Baldwin Bearcats. Coach, congratulations. We talked about this before the game started. We did the game last year with South Pontotoc and Baldwin. Much different outcome. You guys won the game, but a football game that went right down the wire and a game that was pretty wild and woolly, but you guys kind of controlled the football game, tonight and made some big plays.
We did. We came back. Well, we was awfully young last year, and we surprised some people. We got a little bit more experience this time, and I know Coach Dees and them lost a lot of good kids from last year, and it made a difference. Then they work hard. He talked about them being working hard real good, and we had a good game on both sides of the ball, especially. I thought our offensive line this week really did a great job for Caleb. He was able to step up in the pocket. He was able to run through the pocket, so they're coming on, hopefully,
You know, we did your game the first week against Nettleton. I still think Nettleton's really one of the good teams. They are really good, aren't they?
They are.
And in this area, and we did their game against you guys your game against them the first week of the year. But your team looked, of course, obviously South and Nettleton. South's a rebuilding football team and got some young kids. Coach Dees, as you alluded to, said that a few minutes ago. But there's no question your football team looks like they're playing a little bit better in that first week right now.
Well, I hope so. I hope we're getting better each week. But, Nettleton's got an outstanding football team. And, we can say we didn't play well and all that, but Nettleton had a lot to do with it when you look back over it because they're a very good football team.
Like you said earlier, the offensive line did a good job tonight putting their hats on the right people, and Turner did a good job of making some plays. He made a couple good throws. He missed a couple on that first drive, but then came back on the fourth down play and made the big touchdown pass to start the game. Kind of got you guys on off from the right foot.
Caleb's had some good ball games, and I think this one, as far as all around the offensive ball game, I think this may have been our best one. South Tiller, we had a good ball game, and last week, of course, the running has been good, but this week we were able to give all of it, I think. And the line had a lot to do with the running and the passing, and they coming on pretty good. So,
Coach, just before we wrap it up, we've got to talk about this. I don't think there's any way we can avoid it. This game's behind you. And of course, you want to win the next game always, but, the game that comes up next week for people who live in Boonville and people who live in Baldwin is a game that really counts the most for some folks for 365 days. I've lived in that area now for the last few years, and I found out how bitter the rivalry has become and how really and truly it's a well-played football game. But next week you guys will be back at home and an opportunity to play against a very good Boonville team. That should be one of the football games that might be one of the more fun football games to watch in the area next week.
Well, I hope we can play with them better than we've had the last couple of years. One thing Coach Drury does with his, and I admire him, every week they're better than they were the week before. And if you watch them over the years, you think first game of the season that they're fixing to have trouble, but as they go on, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. And right now, I think they won the ball game tonight. and it's going to be tough. It really is, and I hope our kids are up to it. We try to remind them it's a ball game. It's not like it used to be when we're in the Tom Beebe Conference, but it's still a neighborhood rivalry, and it's big. It's big.
For some of the people who've been around the rivalry for a long time, just a couple seconds. We got a couple extra minutes because we got some time here. The old Tom Beebe Conference. You've been around this thing for a long time because you were here when Coach Tucker was here for a long, long time, and been the head coach here for a little while. So you've seen your share of those contests. The memories of those games go back a long way, and those are football games that that people think they still talk about some of them probably 20 years after the fact.
They do. In the conference, there for a while it was Saltillo, Baldwin, and Boonville. That was the top three after Fulton got out of it. Of course, when Fulton was in it, they ruled, for a long, long time. Even when I was in high school at Ripley, they ruled at that time. But Baldwin and Boonville, it's just a game that you just can't imagine what they talk about. Auburn and Alabama. I guess you would say this type of rivalry goes on 10 miles apart.
Oh yeah.
And it's big.
It's big. Of course, that's the next game. We're going to jump ahead just one more second, and we're going to let you go. Your region. Your region is a football. It's a region that you'll start, I guess, week after next when you play against Boonville. I know that's when the real season begins because that's what positioning for the playoffs, what have you, are all about. But your region, there's some improved football teams like a Manatee. They're much better, and people think we're laughing when they say they played Tishomingo County to a pretty good football game last week, and everybody knows how good Tish is now. And then you look at it, and then you got probably maybe the best player maybe in the entire state in your region.
Well, that's right. The Elliott kid from Okolona is extremely good. And of course, Okolona, they're 0-3, but last year when they came in the region, they were 0-5, and then when they finished up, they were 5-1 in the region. And they're going to be strong. Competition made them strong. But I tell you, another team that people overlooked, and this is Coldwater Bunch. Last year they had trouble on offense, and right now they got an outstanding offense, and they played good defense last year, and they're doing that now. So, they were 2-1. I don't know how they came out tonight, but with them and Manatee being improved, of course Belmont always plays hard. You go in there and it's a battle all the time. So the division is going to be much better than it was last year.
Well, the reason why I wanted to allude to those questions because we haven't talked to you yet, and of course I know that we always ask every coach about their region, but Coach, big win for your team tonight. You did the same thing last year that you did this year. You played no teams that are in Class 2A or lower in your basically your non-division schedule before you start region play. I think that's probably a good thing. It gets your team really ready to play those region games, doesn't it?
Well, we think the better the competition is. We were in there with Ripley and Shannon and Corinth for a while, and they kind of grew back up on us, so we got out there and rescheduled, but we still wanted to stay with some teams that could be very good competition for us, and Nettleton and South Pontotoc have been good competition for us, and of course Boonville, Morville is always pretty tough. They play us tough, and it helps you build your confidence up and get you ready when you go into the region.
Yeah, we talked about South. They're down a little bit right now. There's no question. I did this with Trey. I was telling them, they have been scrappy the last 3 or 4 years, and they are competitive. They're a tough little nut to crack. They have been the last couple of years, but of course they defeated Pontotoc first week of the year this year. But
right.
But they have been good and a little bit better. And they're one of those teams. They're one of those teams that kind of gets under your skin a little bit because they're hard to put away sometimes. But tonight you handle them quite nicely.
Well, we did. We played, like I said, we played a pretty good ball game tonight. We worked hard this week as trying to focus on playing as a whole football team instead of just one unit dominating the ball game. But South Pontotoc, I know Coach Dees, they work extremely hard, and that's a very scrappy bunch. And like I said, they're rebuilding. They lost a lot of good athletes last year.
Well, congratulations. I look forward. I know we all do. Next week is going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm already thinking about that one right now. We'll see you next week, 7 o'clock Saturday night. They'll strap it on at Latimer Park. Should be one that should be fun to watch.
I think it will be. I hope so anyway.
I think it will too. Coach, congratulations. Good luck next week against Boone.
All right, thank you.
And Jeremy, as always, we want to thank the players and coaches for taking time out of their game or after the game to talk to us there. Real quickly, we're going to run down some more scores. Jeremy, I told you this game is going to be good. Richard Freeland, 3 rushing touchdowns to help lead the Bruce Trojans to a 20-6 ball game. win over Independence. And you've seen a chance to see Richard. This kid's only a sophomore, shows a bright future ahead of him.
Absolutely. Ever since his resurgence, the Bruce Trojans offense has done extremely well. I got a chance to see them in Aberdeen, and he and Anthony Armstrong combined for 271 yards on 36 carries and 3 touchdowns. And Freeland, just a sophomore, big things are in store for him as he grows up and he matures and he runs the ball with a little bit more vision, and that'll come with a lot of experience.
And another almost a surprising ball game here, Jeremy. Calumet City 27, Houston 7. Calumet City finally getting that roll going, and the defense playing big against a powerful, very powerful Houston offense.
Well, we knew this team would eventually, as you see Brian there, join the West Side group. But you knew eventually Calhoun City was going to turn it around. I think we all got a little down on them after the Vardaman game. But you could chalk that one up to Vardaman just being an outstanding football team this year. But you never underestimate the coaching staff at Calhoun City. They know what they're doing. They've got a lot of talent, and they've bounced back, and they just seem to keep rolling along now. This is still a dangerous team, and this is still a team with a lot of talent. I fully expect them to be playing for the 2A North Hef Championship.
And that was a 27-7 victory for Calumet City over Houston on homecoming night behind Malcolm Bellum's 3 touchdowns in that football game. You talked about Vardaman. They rolled again, 36-0 victory over Walnut. Clemens and Jones, 2 touchdowns each in that ball game. Staying in 1A, this was a surprising score that I got at halftime. I had a halftime score of Hatley to 9-7 over Smithville. A shocker there, but Smithville able to come back and score 20 on extra points behind 4 different players scoring for Smithville with a 27-9 score there in that final. Smithville over Hatley. Calhoun Academy struggles on the road against Newton County, 38-0. Marshall over Lee Academy, 14-7 behind Brent Attaday's 2 touchdowns. And then Coffeyville 38-6 over McAdams, and Lee Chambers and Thomas Horton 2 touchdowns each. Chambers still rolling strong.
Absolutely, and Chambers is the kind of guy that can single-handedly lead a team to the state championship. The Pirates have a great running game with Lee Chambers back there. They continue to give him the football. He's only going to get better, and he can take this team down to Jackson.
Absolutely. And one final score here on the JUCO level. Hines knocked off Northeast Community College. You saw it here on TV7. Heartbreaking loss there for Northeast. 14-10 is that final score there. Well, Jeremy, our food's here, so we're going to take you to a quick break and grab a few bites to eat here as Ryan is already finished with his. So we'll take you to a quick break and come back with some of the games coming your way next week here on TV7. And welcome back to action, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to take in Jeremy right now, look over some of the games coming your way this weekend. We'll just talk about them as we come across them. Calumet City at Aberdeen. Well, the Bulldogs have struggled this year, and you got to thank Calumet City with their recent resurge of, I guess you'd say, that Calumet City Gata attitude. You got to think that the Wildcats will be heavy favor in this one.
This one will not even be close. Malcolm Bellum and company roll over the Bulldogs. Just keep on rolling. Calumet City, don't sleep on them.
Well, Jeremy, a game you'll see this weekend really depends on the health of the Amory quarterback, Richard McFadden, in this ball game. Oxford at Amory should be an exciting football game, but at the same time, though, a McFadden-less Amory team is shown in that Shannon game is a weak one.
Well, the ball game will be won or lost with which Davis Horton shows up. Will the Davis Horton that throws the ball at a 60% completion percentage show up, or will the nervous, at times sporadic Davis Horton show up? Oxford needs to establish the run with Corin and Chris Johns, take some pressure off of Davis Horton, mix in and get the ball to Brent Brownlee, and they'll be fine.
Absolutely. So that'll be a ball game you'll want to be sure and watch next week here on TV7. Another football game that everybody want to tune in for as well. Boonville at Baldwin, the backyard brawl. And Jeremy, a lot of people say this is Baldwin's best chance of beating Boonville, but I'm sorry, as long as Coach Drury's on the sideline, I can never bet against that man.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how Baldwin comes out in this ball game. They just kind of keep rolling along, and I'm going to go with Baldwin. I think the way these kids played last year, with all the inexperience and how young they are, I think they've grown up, and I think they're going to win over the Blue Devils.
Another ball game, homecoming night here in Bruce. Okolona comes to town for homecoming against Bruce. Could be an interesting ball game. Bruce has reeled off 2 wins in a row now, starting to get some confidence. A lot of youth, get some experience here. But you got to like Bruce on homecoming night. But it could be one of those interesting ball games with Okolona.
Well, for the Trojans, they need to run the ball and run it some more. Give Freeland and Armstrong 20 carries each. Let them carry you to victory. Robert Elliott, we saw him at the beginning of the year. He's a great running back with a lot of talent. Good things are in store for him in the future, but right now he just doesn't have the supporting cast. So I think the Trojans will hold serve at home, and they're with their third win in a row, they're picking things up. You know, if they can continue to run the football like we've seen the last couple of weeks, the Trojans can kind of make some noise and possibly sneak into the playoffs.
Water Valley will be at Holly Springs next week. It's going to be an interesting matchup there. Water Valley has lost 2 in a row now. Heartbreaking loss last week to Senatobia. But the Holly Springs Hawks, or excuse me, as their fans or their program says, the Holly Springs Mighty Bad Hawks, looking to try to come into this and I guess you say pull an upset, because you got to think Water Valley favored at least by 14 in this ball game.
I think Water Valley's probably going to get off the schneid here. I think that they're going to do a good job. They got it. They got the game at home. This is the chance for Water Valley to get back.
And if you're wondering what he's laughing about, Ryan getting behind his Hawks over there, flying like a hawk.
Ryan's kind of a big Holly Springs fan. He takes a little credit. But in all seriousness, Water Valley, this is a chance for them to get off the schneid. They lost 2 in a row, as you mentioned. They played some solid football. Need to get back to playing football and winning, get back to the winning ways.
Well, speaking of a team on the bad side of things here, Houston, who has now lost 2 in a row, Kosciuszko and Calhoun City, they'll be on the road at Ackerman. Ackerman's a team that they could show up and play like football gods one time, and then the next day play like they've never seen a football before. So interesting ball game there for Houston.
Yeah, Houston, this is a team that we were really impressed with at the beginning of the week, beginning of the season rather. They played extremely well at Okolona, did a good job running the football. They need to get back to doing that. I think if they can gain some confidence and get a win here, they'll be fine.
Cleveland comes to Lafayette County. Lafayette County has just been ripping everybody apart offensively, defensively. You got to think it continues here with Lafayette County.
Absolutely, Lafayette's going to win the ball game. They've got Wadlington back. They can run the football, and if you're Lafayette, that's all you have to do. Take pressure off your quarterback. Just run the football. Get a big, easy win.
Well, this next ball game, your guess is as good as mine. What's going to happen on this? South Panola, the best of times. I mean, not South Panola. Excuse me, South Pontotoc. I don't know. They're on my mind today for some reason.
A little bit of
slight difference there.
In the two teams.
Not knocking the Cougars, but they'll be on the road to Mantachie. It's been the best of times. It's been the worst of time for South Pontotoc this year. I'm favoring South Pontotoc, but at the same time, though, I can see a fumble here, a missed pass there could actually give this game to Mantachie.
Well, South Pontotoc, excuse me, if they can just get back to the basics and not make those mental mistakes, I think they'll take care of business against Mantachie. South Pontotoc should not lose to a Mantachie.
And North Pontotoc will be at Morville. There's not a lot you can say about this North Pontotoc football program. They're rebuilding, and they're just trying to find something to make something happen. You got to favor Morville in this ball game, but at the same time, though, you would really like to see the North Pontotoc Vikings football squad come out, play hard, and fight to the end.
Well, it's really a shame, as this is a big school. It's a lot of great athletes, and they should be winning in football a lot more than they are.
You got Hatley at Nelton. And what can you say? The Tiger Pride rolling in Nelton. This one right here, Jamie Bolin probably throw 4 more touchdown passes and be out by halftime.
Yeah, this one will not be close at all. Nettleton, they just kind of keep rolling as well. A lot like Calhoun City. They're going to be there when time comes at the end of the season.
Another interesting ball game. Etowah will be at New Albany. And I tell you, Etowah, they've got a new football coach. This guy, he's known for his success. You look at the programs he's been at, the Olive Branch, the Charlestons, Corinth, and things like that, you know. There's some of your big-name teams now. So this ball game right here, I got to go in a close one with Etowah.
Yeah, well, what I've seen in New Albany this year, this is not a very good football team. They just don't have a whole lot of talent. Martell Ingham, probably the only talented football player they have that starts that could really make a difference. So Etowah, you can bank Etowah's going to win this one.
Another ball game coming your way this weekend. Bill Morgan, Soup Campbell will be on the call. Shannon comes to Pontotoc, and sorry for all of our Pontotoc viewers, but the mighty Red Nation, the Red Raider Nation, if you will, continues to roll here.
Oh, Ledbetter, Darius Young, the list goes on and on. Shannon's going to roll. They're going to come in here, look for Darius Young to have another big ball game. If they throw it enough times, Young can have over 100 yards receiving, possibly 150 if they throw it up enough.
We had 119 last week against Amory, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on there as well. Another ball game, probably the snake in the grass, I guess you can say, here in 4A football. Tishomingo County, they're sporting a 4-0 record behind a very good quarterback in Aaron Kissinger. They'll be on the road, a short road trip there for them at Saltillo Tishomingo County big in this one, but right now it's a team you got to keep an eye out on 4A.
Absolutely. Tishomingo County, Saltillo, not a very good football team. They're young in a lot of places, but Tishomingo County, as you mentioned, 4-0, keep making some noise. They can be your dark horse in 4A North.
Smithville will be on the road to Hamilton. They struggled last week. You got to think Smithville's going to rebound and win this one 21+.
Easily, just the more talented team. Usually, more talented teams win the ball game as long as they're well coached.
Well, speaking of more talented football teams, Vardaman will host Faulkner for homecoming this week, and we'll be there for homecoming festivities. All of our Vardaman fans, we apologize. We're just not going to stick around for this ball game. Jeremy, Vardaman is as bad as they want it to be.
Absolutely, this team could rack up 70 points if they wanted to. Hopefully, it won't come to that. They can get their 4 or 5 touchdown victory, get their starters out, rest them, and this is a team that keeps on going. I tell you what, this may be the kiss of death. I just don't see a game where Vardaman slips up the remainder of the year.
Absolutely, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on some games coming up. You talked about the Smithville-Vardaman game, West.Tibahaw-Vardaman games coming to your way. Also East Webster in there, so still some games in there, but I agree with you right now. It's Vardaman's to shoot themselves in the foot and lose. A rivalry that, of course, you don't know a lot about, but being from my old high school, Winona Academy coming to Calhoun Academy, mine is Strider Academy. This has been the competitive rivalry over the year, but Winona East Holmes closed down this year. I think they got a team of 42 players on a 1A football team versus a team with 15 players top on it. You got to think the numbers, just the power by numbers, Winona's going to win this one.
Well, probably so. And Calhoun Academy, they've won a couple this year, so they played well. But once again, the numbers in Academy football, you could always tend to go with the deeper team.
Absolutely. And a side note for Calhoun Academy, Mikey Mulkey, their leading receiver, went down with a broken ankle. If I'm not mistaken, he might have actually played last week on it without knowing it was broken. So, well wishes there to my good buddy Mikey. I worked with him during the off season for basketball. Kid's got a heart of gold. And our last ball game of this one, Marshall at Magnolia Heights. They knocked off Lee last week. This Marshall team's a team that's up and down throughout the year, and if they can play hard, it's going to be tough to do, but I'm favoring Magnolia Heights in this football game, but who knows?
Well, Magnolia Heights is one of those teams that's always good in Academy ball. They always compete for titles. They won a state championship, a few years back. They know how to get there. They've got a lot of experience. They're just one of those teams that knows what to do when it's on the line, and Magnolia Heights is going to win this ball game, and they're going to be a team that can go deep in the playoffs.
Well, this game will already be played by the time you watch this show, I believe, but Jeremy, we'll go ahead and talk about it. Northeast 0-3 against some top quality teams in the state of Mississippi in JUCO football. They're hosting the Northwest Rangers. That should be an interesting football game Thursday night. I'm looking for Northeast to come out on top of this and really start rolling through the North Division.
If you're Northeast, this is the game you want to see. This is really the breakout game so far. They've got to get their skilled players playing well. Ranked number 17 in the country in preseason, just have not shown up in 3 ball games thus far. They need a big win this weekend against the Rangers, and I do believe they'll get it.
Of course, next week the Northeast Tigers will be on the road to ICC, the big rivalry game there. You almost call it the Ole Miss State of JUCO colleges here in this one. So the Northeast Tigers really need to get on a winning way there in a big way. Well, Jeremy, our food's sitting here in front of us, and we're starving. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the show today. I want to once again thank Charles for hosting the show here at Westside Grill. Excuse me. Remind you that he's open 7 days a week. You can give him a call at 983-2828. Here to place the order. He always welcomes you to just come in, grab a menu, sit down, and the man will talk football about you till your ears fall off. So come by and see him there and order some food. And also go by and thank the sponsors that you see throughout this show as well. So Jeremy Kennedy, Stephen Chris, Ryan Whittington's in the back making a fool of himself, and Charles finally getting to sit down and rest for a little while. We'll see you next week here on The Coaches Show.